Olympics in Rio, so that'll be something to look out for
We
sure.
look forward
Spectacular backdrops, I'm sure there'll be as well over there.
I bet there will be. Amelia, thank you very much. And of course, much more on the Olympics coming up. But for now, you are watching BBC News. Still to come on. Now let's take a look at some of the headlines in the UK. Police hunting for the missing schoolgirl Tia Sharp have launched a murder inquiry after finding a body. You are watching BBC News live from London. Our main headlines this hour. Well, staying with the Olympics because it's been a big day in the Olympic boxing ring, with the men battling for places in the finals of all 10 weight divisions. Ireland's Michael Conlan collected bronze after losing his flyweight semi-final. Well, I've been speaking to the former world professional boxing champion Barry McGuigan, who started by giving his thoughts on Team GB's Freddie Evans, who now has a shot at gold after winning his welterweight semi-final.
He beat the reigning world champion from the Ukraine, boxed superbly, won by a fairly comfortable margin, and is now into the Olympic final. My God, isn't that incredible? It's hard to believe it. We've had so much success in the boxing. Luke Campbell got through earlier on today. Unfortunately, Anthony Ogogo was beaten by an incredibly talented Brazilian who's, I feel sure, is going to win the gold medal.
But unfortunately, disappointment for Ireland's Michael Conlan, though.
Disappointment for Michael Conlan because he fought one of the best Cubans I've ever seen. He's absolutely brilliant. There's an 18-year-old kid who's won the world youth title, won the Olympic youth title, and Ramirez is going to go on, I think, to win a number of Olympic titles. Maybe he'll even equal the great Teofilo Stevenson and win 3. Very talented kid. That was unfortunate. But earlier on in the day, of course, we had John Joe Nevin, who won the 56 and beat the Cuban, the world champion. Schooled him completely. Looked absolutely magnificent. He's red hot at the moment, and he fights Luke Campbell, who of course beat the Japanese guy comfortably, and they will fight tomorrow in the final. And this is a rerun of the World Championship semi-final in November last year that took place in Baku, and it went down to the wire. There was 1 point, I think, separating them in the end. But this is looking like it's going to be a barnstormer of a final.
So what's your tip then in that case?
I think Nevin is really, really good. I think if he can beat the Cuban, who was tall and rangy, I'm going to give him the edge, but anything can happen. Campbell is a former European gold medalist, very talented, and it would be very close, but it could be down to a hair's breadth.
So you think there is a possibility of beating the Cuban, even though Cuba has got such an amazing history of boxers?
Well, John Joe Nevin already beat the Cuban today, and of course he fights Luke, as I mentioned, in the final at 56. So that is a very competitive match, and either of the guys can win.
And in terms of these Olympics, of course, we've seen women's boxing for the first time in Olympics. Now, Katie Taylor, Nicola Adams, Claressa Shields,
yes,
they are becoming household names.
Incredible. I mean, listen, anybody who doubted how good women's boxing is, if they came along and you didn't tell them they were men or women or men, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Nicola Adams was impeccable. Katie Taylor was incredible. 4 world championships she's won, and Nicola came to the 4. The two of them are great flag bearers for the sport, and I think it will have the full complements of weights in 4 years' time. It's been a terrific event. AIBA should be very proud of themselves, and GB Boxing, what a legacy they've left behind them.
Barry McGuigan, of course, there speaking to me a little earlier. Well, there were 2 gold medals up for grabs in the latest session of another contact sport, Taekwondo. South Korea's Hwang Kyung-seon retained her Olympic title in the women's 76-kilogram division, and Argentina's Sebastian Krizmanich won gold in the men's under 80-kilogram category. Well, Taekwondo is usually dominated by South Korea, where it is the national sport. But at these games, they have just managed a single gold out of the 6 available so far. Well, to get more on this, we can speak to the sports journalist Barnaby Chesterman, who was at both finals. So, Barnaby, why is South Korea not doing as well as it usually does? Big story for Team GB in terms of Taekwondo is Lutala Mohammed. Just explain the whole circumstances around his selection. A reminder of some of the day's highlights. Police searching for the missing schoolgirl Tia Sharp have arrested her grandmother's partner, Stuart Hazel, on... Well, that's it from me, but now on BBC News, it is time for Click.